The millionaire stops to breathe when he smells the baby soup the girl made. Leonard's car pulled into the driveway under the fading glow of a bruised sunset. His heart hammered like a frantic drum, not from the day's grind, but because something felt off. As he stepped through the front door, an unexpected smell hit him, a warm, thick aroma that sliced through the cool evening air like a sudden tide. Baby soup, homemade, the kind only a mother's hands could make. His breath caught. That scent, delicate, tender, and strangely unsettling, wrapped around him, filling the room with a haunting familiarity. It wasn't just food. It was a memory, a ghost of the quiet evenings spent when his wife was still alive. A recipe she used to make, one that cradled their daughter Lily with every spoonful. But tonight, the soup simmered in a pot beside a smiling figure Leonard wasn't ready to trust, Rachel. Rachel, with her bright eyes and easy laugh, who seemed a little too her presence hovered like a shadow that didn't belong, as Leonard's eyes darted between her and Lily, who was eagerly slurping the soup with wide, innocent eyes. His chest tightened. Why was Rachel cooking this? Why this dish? And why now? A chill prickled down his spine as the memory of Daniel's words echoed, a whisper veiled in warning. Daniel, the son of the cleaning lady, had dropped something strange the other day. Watch out for Rachel. She's not like she says. She's dangerous. She's after Lily. The words had landed like a sharp slap, but Leonard shoved them aside. Could they be true? Was this woman, who seemed so kind, hiding a dark secret? Later that night, his restless mind wouldn't let go. He needed answers. That's when he found it, hidden beneath a loose floorboard, an old document stained and folded carelessly. The name jumped out, Marina Steele, a woman Leonard had only heard rumors about, a woman tangled in stories too sinister to imagine. Coerced adoptions, whispered threats, vanished children. And now, Rachel's name was linked to Marina's shadowy world. Leonard's hands trembled as he pieced it together, heart pounding like a warning siren in the stillness. What if Lily was in danger? What if this new mother wasn't the saving grace he hoped for, but a nightmare wearing a smile? Doubt sliced through his soul, battling with the desperate hope to protect his little girl. His daughter's laughter from the kitchen, pure, unknowing, felt like a fragile bubble about to burst. Just when Leonard thought he could steady his trembling resolve, the phone rang. Late, sharp, unseen. The voice on the other end was barely a whisper, chilling his blood. Watch her closely. It's already too late. Silence swallowed the room. The millionaire, the father, the man holding on to the last pieces of his heart. The stakes had never felt higher. How much danger lurked in the warmth of that soup? How deep did Rachel's secrets run? And could Leonard uncover the truth before the shadows swallowed them all? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I love getting to know all the amazing people who are part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The phone's eerie silence hung like a noose around Leonard's neck. Every instinct in him screamed to hang up, to dismiss the threat in that whisper. But he couldn't. Lily giggled in the background, the sound innocent yet haunting. He couldn't look away from Rachel, who stirred the pot, unaware of the storm brewing in his mind. Watch her closely. It's already too late. What did that even mean? He felt trapped, caught between the safety of his past and the unknown horrors that loomed over his daughter. He couldn't lose Lily. Not like this. Not again. But in that moment of panic, he noticed something. A flicker of movement in Rachel's reflection against the glass door. His breath hitched. Was it just his mind playing tricks? He shook his head, focusing on Rachel, who continued humming softly, seeming almost angelic as she worked, her brow furrowing in concentration. Yet every scrape of the spoon made Leonard's gut twist. "Rachel," he called, forcing his voice to stay steady. "What did you put in the soup?" She turned, eyes bright, lips curling into a smile. "Oh, it's just the usual ingredients. You know how much Lily loves it." Her voice held an unassuming rhythm, but something in the way she leaned towards him felt unsettling, almost wolfish. Leonard's heart thudded. Just when he opened his mouth to ask more, a sudden crash shattered the air. The front door bursts open. A heavy figure, silhouetted against the red glow of the setting sun, slammed into the room, breathing heavily. It was Daniel, fear etched on his face, wide eyes darting between Leonard and Rachel. "Leonard, you have to listen to me," Daniel gasped, his voice strained. "It's worse than I thought. You're in danger." Leonard's chest tightened. Danger? The room grew cold, as if winter had rushed in. Rachel's smile evaporated, morphing into something darker. "What are you talking about?" she demanded, her voice low and sharp. "Rachel isn't who she says she is," Daniel shouted, steps advancing. "You have to get Lily away from her." Now, as he spoke, the sound of laughter faded. Leonard's heart raced in tandem with the looming dread. He looked past Daniel at Lily, who had become freeze frame in the kitchen, holding her spoon mid-air, eyes wide. "What do you mean, Daniel?" Leonard pressed, desperate. "What's going on?" But before Daniel could respond, a flash of recognition crossed Rachel's face, transforming into rage. "You shouldn't have come here," she snarled, her voice sharper, her demeanor shifting like the tide. In a heartbeat, it all changed. Rachel lunged toward Lily, but Leonard was quicker. He dashed forward, grabbing Lily just as a heavy weight crashed down on the table, sending soup splattering everywhere. A heavy object dropped by Rachel, revealing her true intent. "My mother's name was Marina Steele," Rachel hissed, her mask shattering. "And now you'll know what a real mother protects." A gasp hung in the air. The name echoed like an unwelcome ghost. Leonard felt the world tilt. The woman he thought was a kind replacement for his wife was tied to the very darkness he had been warned about. As he held Lily closer, the truth ripped through him like a jagged knife. The lines of trust smudged red in that instant. But before he could process it all, Rachel lunged for them, a furious blur of motion. The soup pot in hand, time slowed. Flesh against flesh, love against deception. Leonard felt reality buckle. What had he gotten himself into? And as he struggled to protect his daughter, all he could think was, how deep did Rachel's betrayal run? He would find out, and it wouldn't be pretty. As Rachel lunged, Leonard's heart pounded like a war drum in his chest. Everything faded into a blur of motion. He had one instinct: protect Lily no matter what. He grabbed her, spinning away just as Rachel swung the pot toward them, soup splattering across the floor like blood. Daniel surged forward, pushing Leonard further back, away from Rachel's grasp. "Get her away from here," he shouted, urgency cracking his voice. Lily whimpered, her tiny hands clutching Leonard's shirt. "Daddy, I'm scared." He glanced down at her, eyes wide with fear. And suddenly, all the instincts to shield her were eclipsed by the monstrous reality of the situation. Rachel's face twisted in fury, her composure unraveling faster than the steam rising from the pot. "You think you can just take her from me?" she screamed, eyes burning with a wild intensity. But something shifted in the air. The tension grew thicker. Everything felt heightened, like electricity sparking in the room. And then it happened. The sound rippled through the air, a sudden crack, like thunder. A bright light burst through the window, white and blinding. It drew everyone's gaze, and Leonard instinctively pulled Lily closer to him. Without warning, the front door swung open again. A figure stood silhouetted against the light, tall, broad, and decidedly menacing. "What the hell is going on in here?" Leonard's heart nearly stopped. It was the last person he ever expected to see. His father. Gerald. Dad? Leonard's voice barely scraped through the shock. The man he hadn't spoken to in years stood there, eyes scanning the chaos with cold precision. The tension in the room snapped tighter. Was this the cavalry, or another twist in the nightmare? Rachel hesitated, her anger temporarily eclipsed by disbelief. "You shouldn't be here," she hissed, her mask of kindness stripped away. Gerald's gaze flicked to Rachel, a glint of recognition flashing across his face. "So you're the one. I should have known." "Know what?" Leonard coughed out, confusion swelling inside him like a storm. "What's happening? What are you doing here?" Then Gerald stepped forward, unyielding, his voice low and fierce. "You have no idea what you're involved in, son. Neither of you." "What do you mean?" Leonard demanded, panic rising in his throat. Rachel snarled, "You don't know anything, Gerald. You're just as lost as he is." The room thickened with secrets, unspoken histories twisting between them. Leonard's breath quickened. He felt the world collapsing around him. "What do you know about Rachel?" But before anyone could respond, Gerald reached into his coat, pulling out a weathered envelope. The moment he revealed it, it felt like a match struck, a flash illuminating the darkness. "This is why I'm here. You need to see this. It changes everything." "Give it to me." Rachel snapped, lunging for it. "No, stay back," Leonard shouted, placing himself between her and his father. His heart raced as he watched them, two forces of nature grasping for control. And then it hit him. The faint outline of his father's expression held secrets buried deep, and Leonard's fingers shook as he stepped forward, reaching for the envelope. Lily tugged at him, wide-eyed. "Daddy, what's happening?" Each passing moment felt like shards of glass cutting through the air. Leonard's voice trembled. "I don't know, honey, but we'll figure it out." He opened the envelope, his hands freezing as he peered inside. Names flooded his vision, an intricate web of deceptions and ties. Rachel, Marina, his father, and more. An icy realization set in. "Oh my God!" Gerald's voice lowered. "You have no idea how deep this goes." Rachel's eyes narrowed, her demeanor shifting into something far more dangerous. "You shouldn't have opened that." The air crackled between them, charged with true danger. Leonard stood there, the weight of the document heavy in his hands, the truth hovering like a specter. What had he unearthed? In one moment, everything changed, and he was left gasping for air, the stakes higher than he ever imagined. Now, trust hung by a thread as he faced Rachel, the woman he'd let into their lives, and Gerald, the father whose shadow had loomed far too long. Which of them held the actual truth, and which ones were the true threat? As everything spiraled, all he knew was that those words, hidden in the shadows, were about to reshape their lives forever. Leonard's mind raced as he stared at the envelope. Names floated in a dizzying whirl, and the weight of the truth pressed down on him, compressing his heart. He caught Rachel's glare, dark and dangerous, while Daniel stood beside him, confusion mingling with fear. "Just give it to me." Rachel's voice sliced through the... "Just stop," he shouted, taking a step back, absorbing the chaos of the moment. Every second felt like a countdown to disaster. Lily clutched his leg, senses buzzing, her small voice barely above a whisper. "Daddy, I don't like this." With each passing heartbeat, the room pulsed with an electrifying intensity. But Leonard couldn't look away from his father's steady gaze. Gerald stood like a fortress, unwavering, as if he held the key to this twisted puzzle. "Leonard," Gerald said, his voice commanding, "you and Lily need to get out, now." "Where? What about you?" The question spilled out before Leonard could filter it, urgency drowning his voice. "Trust me." Gerald's face remained unmoved, but there was a flicker of something beneath the surface, something raw and desperate. Suddenly, Rachel laughed, a sharp, broken sound that filled the space. Trust him? That's rich coming from you, Gerald. You don't know the first thing about trust. The room's air thickened, crackling with tension. Leonard pressed his back against the wall, instinct screaming at him to flee. Yet something deeper held him rooted. He needed answers, and this was the moment. He pulled the envelope free, heart pummeling in his chest. He tore it open, adrenaline rushing as he rifled through the old documents inside. Photos, papers, names he didn't recognize. And then his breath hitched. A blood-stained photo slipped from the folder. His throat tightened. It was Rachel, but not as he knew her. She stood with a group of other people, all looking triumphant, their faces shadowed by the darkness surrounding them. No. Leonard's voice shook, wide-eyed disbelief crashing over him. What the hell is this? The room fell silent, every breath suspended. Rachel turned pale, eyes darting, searching for an escape. You weren't supposed to find that. What is going on? Leonard demanded, his voice rising above the haunting silence. And then, the most unexpected thing happened. A loud bang echoed through the room, followed by the shattering of glass. The front window collapsed inward, framing a figure dressed in black. Before anyone could react, the intruder rushed inside, moving like lightning. Get down, he shouted, voice low and gravelly. Chaos erupted. Leonard dropped to the floor, shielding Lily instinctively. Daniel pressed against the wall, fear etched on his face. Gerald lunged towards the figure, shouting, "What are you doing here?" But the figure wasn't interested in explanations. He grabbed Rachel, yanking her backward. Time's up. We need to go, now. Let me go. You don't understand, Rachel screamed, desperation clawing through her voice. The man turned slightly, revealing a flash of familiarity. Leonard's eyes widened in shock as he recognized him. The man their family had seen in passing, often lurking around dark corners. Your mother wants her back, Rachel, he growled, tightening his grip. Rachel's facade crumbled, vulnerabilities spilling through cracks in her guarded armor. You're a traitor. We had a plan. That word echoed like a death knell, shattering everything Leonard thought he knew. The connection between them changed, morphing from threat to desperate urgency. A plan? What plan? He demanded, fury rippling through his chest. But before Rachel could answer, the intruder pulled her toward the shattered window, ready to flee. Leonard's stomach dropped, instincts clashing. No, not again! Lily! He shouted, panic slicing through him. But in the chaos, a shot rang out. It felt time froze. A scream pierced the air, not from the intruder, but from Daniel, falling, clutching his leg as blood seeped through his fingers. Everything cascaded into chaos. The man dragged Rachel out, pulling her into the shadows as Leonard scrambled to Daniel. Stay with us, please. But the shadows were deepening, and Leonard could feel them encroaching. The room spun as he pulled Lily close and faced the shattering illusions of trust. In that moment, truths collided, memories twisted, and a new world emerged from the shadows. Was Rachel the villain or the victim? And who truly held the power? Now, as Leonard cradled Lily, he realized the storm was just beginning. Chaos erupted. Leonard dropped to the floor, cradling Lily under his arm as he pressed against the wall, desperately trying to shield her from the mayhem. Stay down, just stay down, he rasped, panic clawing at his throat. Daniel was struggling to crawl, blood pooling around him from his leg. Leonard's heart thudded like a drum in his ears. Daniel, hang on! But the intruder was hauling Rachel out like she weighed nothing. She fought against him, her screams piercing through the tension. You don't understand. They'll kill us all. Shut up, he barked, glaring back at her with icy certainty. He was focused, willing to drag her into the dark night. The room quaked under the weight of fear. Leonard's mind raced. They were outnumbered. "We need to get out," he shouted, voice shaking as he pulled Lily closer, aware of every breath she took against him, warm and fragile. Rachel caught sight of the fallen Daniel, and for a fleeting second, her expression softened, flickering with humanity. "Daniel," she cried, but the stern man didn't falter. He pushed her farther from Leonard's view. Then, just when Leonard thought the momentum was shifting, everything exploded. A deafening sound, glass shattering again, not just the window. Leonard's heart dropped as two more figures burst in behind Rachel's captor, dressed in similar black outfits. But they weren't here just for Rachel. They were here for something much worse. Leonard's stomach plummeted as one of them pointed a gun straight at him. "Out of the way, now!" The voice was harsh, filled with authority. "No!" Rachel screamed, whipping around to face them. "You can't take her! Not Lily!" Her vulnerability twisted into something fierce, protecting a child that wasn't even hers. But that single line echoed in Leonard's ears. It twisted like a knife. What did she mean? Panic surged anew as he clutched Lily, her small hands gripping his shirt, wide eyes terrified. "Dad, what's happening?" she whimpered. "Nothing, baby. Just stay quiet," he said, voice trembling as he glanced back at the intruders. They exchanged nervous glances, as if they were waiting for something. "Get them both!" the leader snarled. Leonard took a breath, desperation clawing at him like claws. Something was off. "Why are you doing this?" he shouted, hoping to buy them time. And then it happened. The world shattered again. From the back of the room, a cold laugh reverberated. "Mama's home!" A woman stepped into view, her face illuminated by the stark light, features hidden but undeniably familiar. He felt the world tilt beneath him. "Marina? Surprise!" she grinned, eyes glimmering with an intensity Leonard had never seen. The name was a storm, and suddenly everything clicked. "Rachel? She's your mother?" Leonard gasped, stunned. "Yes!" Rachel shouted, her walls fading under the truth. "But No time." Marina interrupted, her gaze locking onto Leonard. "We're not just here for Rachel. We want Lily." "Lily? What are you talking about?" Breath caught in his throat. Marina's smile widened, revealing a chilling desire. "She's so much more than you know. The reason Rachel's here." Heart racing, Leonard felt the ground beneath him crumbling, secrets crashing over him like waves. "You're lying." "No, I'm not." Marina stepped closer, eyes sparking with an unnerving certainty. "This whole time, the stories you heard about me, the adoptions, the disappearances, those were just the beginning. The real family is about to be reunited." Leonard's breath came in shallow bursts. Everything he thought he understood shattered like glass around him. Rachel looked torn, caught between two worlds. Was he just a pawn in their game? "Lily is tied to something bigger than either of you can comprehend," Marina continued, and Leonard could feel the truth pressing down on him. "What do you want from her?" Marina laughed again, a sound laced with darkness. "Let's just say she's part of our legacy." Leonard's heart dropped. The room grew colder, tension stretching taut. Was she really saying what he thought? Did they want to take Lily? As relationships turned, truths morphed, and betrayal lingered heavy in the air. He realized he was standing at the brink of a devastating abyss. Would he fight for his daughter, or would he lose everything? In that moment, as hope flickered and darkness loomed, Leonard understood. The nightmare had only just begun. Leonard's heart hammered as he stared at the chaos. Rachel, his supposed ally, now stood tethered to her mother, a woman drenched in shadows and secrets. "You'll never take her," he said, his voice steady despite the turmoil. He felt Lily tighten her grip on him, her innocence a fragile thread in this web of deceit. Marina stepped closer, her eyes glinting with something dark and hungry. "You think you can protect her from the truth? She belongs with us, Leonard. You can't keep her away from her own blood. Blood? Leonard spat, feeling fury rise. This is my daughter, not a pawn in your sick game. But before Marina could respond, an unexpected sound tore through the room, a low rumble growing louder. The floor shook beneath them, an earthquake of chaos. Leonard's breath hitched as he glanced at Daniel, who was struggling to stay conscious, his face pale. "Get them out!" Daniel gasped, reaching for the door. His voice rang with urgency, but Leonard couldn't think of leaving him behind. Then, as if in response to Daniel's command, the ceiling above them erupted. Dust and shards of plaster rained down like confetti, and a massive hole broke through, framing a figure outlined in the blinding light above. An unexpected hero, perhaps? "Out of the way!" the voice boomed, echoing like thunder. Everyone froze, eyes darting to the spectacle. Another figure descended, a helicopter, propellers whirling, throwing dust and debris everywhere. It hovered menacingly, a rescue or another threat. The tail rotor sliced through the air, shards glinting in the dying light. Marina's expression twisted into rage, her plan unraveling like thread pulled too tight. No, this can't be happening. But the chaos continued. A rope ladder dropped from the chopper, swinging wildly. People shouted from above, not just any people, but officials in uniforms. "Move, get out now!" Leonard never dared to look up. All that mattered was Lily. He turned to her, fear knotted in his throat. "We need to get out of here, and we need to go now." But before he could make a move, another shock struck. Not from the helicopter, but from Rachel. In an instant, she made a decision, a fierce resolve sparking in her eyes. "I won't let you take her." With a sudden rush, she turned and lunged toward the now closed door, wrenching it open to face the hovering chaos outside. "Stop!" she yelled, voice powerful and defiant. Everything splintered. The wind shrieked through the doorway, tugging at their clothes, sending chills down Leonard's spine. Rachel, filled with desperation, shouted toward the figures above. "Please, you don't understand. She's not just any girl." And that was it. In a flash, the figures above froze, uncertain. It was as if time itself paused, hanging on the brink of a revelation. "What do you mean?" one of the uniformed officers shouted down. Rachel turned, an epiphany brightening her face. "You know my mother. She's still alive. You have to let Lily go. She's special. You all need to—" Leonard felt the universe tilt. It was dizzying. "What are you talking about?" he gasped, disbelief framing every word. "What's special? Rachel, you're scaring me." But Marina interrupted, her voice cold. "No, you won't control this. We had a plan all along, a plan to take Lily back to her rightful place." The weight of her words landed hard, twisting Leonard's stomach like a vice. His eyes widened, realization dawning like a storm. A plan? What plan? At that moment, the helicopter's spotlight illuminated Rachel's face, and in that stark glow, everything changed. Leonard saw his daughter's face reflected in her eyes, but it wasn't just fright. There was a glimmer of understanding. Whether it was a past forgotten or a future revealed, he couldn't tell. And then the ultimate twist crashed over him like a tidal wave. You've been lying from the start. You're not just here for Lily, are you?" He stumbled back, the realization tearing through him. "What do you mean?" Rachel whispered, hurt flashing across her features. Then Leonard turned, heart pounding. "You've known me all along, haven't you?" A silence fell, deeper than the night outside. Every breath felt charged. The truth lingered, hanging thick like fog. "Lily, we need to talk," Rachel called softly. But Leonard felt the distance stretch painfully wide. The room spun, filled with questions, as the figures above watched and waited. shadows hanging over them like fog. And in those fragile moments, everything shifted. In a terrifying heartbeat, Leonard realized the bond they shared threatened to snap entirely. He was trapped between the woman he feared and the daughter who needed saving. The stakes had never felt higher. What lay beyond the doorway of truth? What other secrets swirled in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered? As Leonard's heart raced, one question echoed louder than the rest. Could he save Lily before the truth consumed them all? Leonard's heart raced as the air buzzed thick with tension. The revelation that Rachel was tied to a legacy he barely understood brought a storm of chaos surging through him. Why? What's special about Lily? He yelled, desperation clawing at his throat. Before she could respond, Marina stepped forward, her smile twisted, eyes glistening with something dark. It's not just about her bloodline. It's about what she can do, the power surging through her veins. She is the culmination of it all. Lily whimpered at Leonard's side, curling closer to him. His protective instinct flared like a beacon, even as confusion gripped him. This was all wrong. You're insane, he shouted, trembling. You can't take her. The wind howled outside, a harsh reminder of the tempest brewing within. But just as the tension peaked, another voice cut through the chaos. A voice from the helicopter above. We're coming in. The chopper's spotlight swirled, and with it, an unsettling realization struck. A figure swung down on the rope ladder, landing with a thud just inside the door. It was a woman dressed in tactical gear, her face masked. I'm here for the girl. Move aside. As that shocked everyone into stillness, Leonard felt a familiar spark of recognition. It couldn't be. No, it can't be you. The woman pulled off her mask, revealing sharp features and a smirk. Surprise, Leonard. It was Sophie, his long-lost sister, the one he thought had vanished years ago. You abandoned us, he gasped, mind spiraling. Why are you here? I was sent, she retorted, eyes ablaze. The plan was bigger than you understood. Rachel must join us if we're going to succeed. The room spun, each new piece of this twisted puzzle digging deeper into Leonard's gut. You're working with them? No, you don't get it, Sophie shouted, frustration tightening her posture. I'm here to save you all, Marina scoffed, moving towards Sophie. You've made a mistake returning here. You belong with us. Everyone shouted over one another, the air thick with panic. Leonard could feel his world unraveling, each revelation tearing apart the threads of trust he'd clung to. Sophie was supposed to be a comfort, a familiar face in the storm, but everything about her was a question mark now. Lily's eyes darted between them, confusion swimming in innocence. Daddy, what's happening? Sophie reached out, violet eyes piercing through the clutter. Lily, you have to listen. Your family needs you. It's time for you to accept who you are. A gasp escaped Leonard's lips, his heart swallowed by dread. What are you talking about? What does she need to accept? The room grew cramped, silence wrapping them tight. Time slipped away, every heartbeat echoing with uncertainty. And then, in a horrid flash, everything shattered yet again. A loud crack resounded, deeper than the shouts, reverberating through the floor beneath Leonard's feet. The lights flickered, and suddenly explosions erupted outside. Get down! Sophie shouted, diving for cover, and Leonard followed suit, shielding Lily. But it was too late. The walls trembled, shaking loose dust and debris. Everything blurred around them. Then it came, a shockwave, crashing through the open door. It slammed into Leonard, sending him sprawling across the floor, claws of panic tight around his throat. When he pulled himself back up, fear coursed through him. Lily. His voice rasped as he searched the chaos, but the shadows twisted, and time felt suspended. The air crackled with uncertainty. He needed to find her. "Lily!" he gasped, trying to push through the haze, hoping for a glimpse of his daughter. But all he saw was a chaos of legs and bodies moving. And then he felt it, an icy grip on his heart. The painful realization hit like a blow. The one person he'd fought to protect was gone. The space beside him where Lily had stood was empty. "Where is she?" he roared, terror igniting every nerve. Suddenly, a figure emerged through the dust. It was Rachel, and dread filled his throat as he registered her expression. Defiant, driven. "She's with Marina." His heart sank into a void, and everything flipped. This was bigger than he understood. He was losing more than just Lily. "No!" he screamed, feeling the depths of despair clawing at his insides. And as the room pulsed with chaos and uncertainty, the only thing pounding through his mind was a chilling phrase that echoed louder than the explosions outside. "It's just begun." Leonard's heart thundered as he locked eyes with Rachel, her fury blending with desperation. The chaos surged around them, the world outside filled with the sounds of mayhem. "Where is she?" he shouted again, but the words felt hollow. The thought of losing Lily tore him apart. Rachel's face twisted, fear mixing with determination. "We can't let them take her." But it was too late. Marina was already retreating with Lily, dragging her out into the night, where everything felt darker. "No!" Leonard cried, lunging forward, only to be restrained by Sophie, whom he had almost forgotten was there. "Let me go!" he growled, panic clawing at his throat. He had to reach Lily. But then, everything shifted. A loud explosion pierced the chaos, making the ground tremble beneath him. Smoke billowed in from the street, filling the room with panic. The helicopters roared overhead, but Leonard couldn't think about that. All that mattered was Lily. And then it happened. A flash of illumination surged through the chaos, blinding him. When he blinked back the light, everything changed. Standing before him was another figure, tall, imposing, wearing a familiar face. It was Gerald, his father. But he wasn't like the Gerald he remembered. This man's presence felt different, heavy with power and hidden intention. "Step aside," Gerald commanded, voice rigid. Leonard's heart sank. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Gerald didn't answer, eyes locked on Marina, with an intensity that sent chills down Leonard's spine. "You have no idea what you're messing with, Marina." "Neither do you," Marina spat, a flash of something dangerous in her gaze. In that moment, the chaos paused as if the universe was holding its breath. The air thickened with unspoken truths. Slowly, Gerald reached into his coat, pulling out a small glass vial, the contents swirling ominously within. "This is the key," he announced, voice steady. "It'll end everything." "What is that?" Leonard barely managed, dread pooling in his stomach. Sophie's face paled. "Dad, don't!" she cried, stepping forward. But it was too late. Gerald raised the vial higher, a sinister smile creeping across his lips. "It's what we need to reveal the truth about Lily." With one swift motion, he uncorked the vial and swung it toward Marina. A plume of silvery mist erupted, filling the air, swirling like fog. It settled, and a heavy silence fell. Everyone froze, eyes wide, breath caught. Then it happened. Lily emerged from the shadows behind Marina, held tight against her. But she wasn't the same. Her eyes glowed with an unnatural light, shimmering like molten gold. "Mommy?" Lily's voice, sweet and innocent, rang out. But it was more than that. The world shattered. "Mommy?" Marina echoed, face paling as she whispered that word, her expression shifting from longing to horror. "You're alive." Leonard's heart stopped, the truth crashing like a tidal wave. "What do you mean?" And then it struck him. It wasn't just Lily's essence glowing with power. It was a reflection of Marina's past. The room trembled, relationships shattering as the realization settled. Lily is your daughter, but I... The pieces clicked into place. Rachel and Marina had been working together, but it wasn't for some twisted plan. It was family. They were connected in ways Leonard couldn't have imagined. "Everything you thought you knew was a lie," Gerald said, voice low, filled with authority. "It's time for the real family to take back what's theirs." And it hit Leonard hard. Everything shifted. Who was the enemy? What did it mean for him? Suddenly the helicopter roared louder, the spotlight casting shadows that twisted around them like serpents ready to strike. "We need to get out," Sophie shouted, backing toward the door. But nothing mattered now. His world felt like it was spinning out of control. Lily, his daughter, the girl he thought was his, is she more than he ever understood? And as he stared at her glowing form, he understood one painful truth. The real battle was just beginning. The fight for recognition. A fight intertwined with bloodlines and legacies he never expected. And suddenly, he realized he was not trying to save her, but to break free from a web he never wanted to be part of. What were they truly after? And what would it mean for the love he thought he knew? The chaos swirled around Leonard like a tempest, each revelation tearing deeper into the fabric of his life. "Lily, no," he shouted, desperation creeping into his voice, but her glowing form seemed to pulse with an energy that felt both terrifying and familiar. Gerald stood beside him, a monumental figure, but the warmth of family was gone. "You need to trust us, son," he urged, though it felt empty. Lily's eyes shimmered with something beyond understanding, and he felt lost in a tide of uncertainty. Marina's voice crackled with excitement. "She's the key, Leonard. This child is our future." Lily looked up, confusion mingling with innocence. "Daddy?" Her small face, glowing golden, sent fresh waves of panic coursing through him. Every instinct screamed to cover her, to protect her from this madness. Then, the unexpected happened. A tremor rippled through the air, like the world itself was shaking. The walls vibrated, reverberating with a deep, ominous hum. Leonard staggered, grasping for balance, while the chaos unfolded before him. "What's happening?" he yelled over the rising din, but no one could answer. The ground felt alive, as if it were breathing, shifting beneath their feet. Suddenly, from the shadows, a figure materialized, a woman cloaked in darkness, emerging with a fierce intensity that demanded attention. Leonard's heart plummeted as he recognized her. It was his estranged mother, Evelyn, the one who walked away from their lives years ago. "What is this?" he gasped. Evelyn met his gaze with a powerful glare. "You've all been deceived," she shouted, her voice cutting through the noise. "Not just by Marina, but me too." Silence fell like a shroud, every eyes locked on her. Secrets shivered in the air, waiting to be unveiled. It was odd seeing her here dressed in stark black, blending into the shadows at the edges of the room. Leonard's pulse raced. "You? Why now?" Evelyn stepped forward, her presence commanding as she reached for the swirling mist. "I tried to protect you from this, but I see now." She paused, voice trembling slightly. "I was a fool." Lily looked between them, confusion palpable on her small face. "Mommy?" "No, no," Marina cried, stepping protectively in front of Lily. "Don't get involved." But Evelyn surged forward, promising a storm. "You're not her mother, Marina. I am. She belongs with me." "Mom?" Leonard's world tilted again as he absorbed her words. You are her mother?" Within the flickering shadows, Lily's golden light pulsed brighter. It was a beacon in the growing darkness, reflecting the turmoil inside Leonard. "You can't take her," he shouted, lunging towards them. But then the unimaginable happened. The ground buckled beneath their feet, a violent shudder that sent everyone staggering. The ceiling creaked ominously, and Leonard caught sight of the light flickering above him. Wood splintering, dust pouring down. "Get down!" Leonard shouted, pulling Lily close as he dove for cover. In a heart-stopping instant, the ceiling collapsed, light spearing through the wreckage like an angelic arm. But twisted limbs bound the air, dragging everyone into the depths of danger. When the dust settled, the echoes of panic rang hollow. Leonard stood up, blinking through the haze, terrified. Everything he thought he knew felt shattered around him. And then, a ghastly realization settled in. Lily was gone. The room echoed with silence, a void where her laughter once sparkled. "No!" Leonard screamed, but his voice was swallowed by despair. "Lily!" Suddenly, a figure emerged from the rubble, holding a silhouette that sent shockwaves through him. It was Daniel, bloodied and beaten, but steady. He held Lily in his arms, cradling her like a fragile dove. "She's here," Daniel whispered, and relief washed over Leonard like a sudden rainstorm, cutting through the long drought. But then, something shifted in Daniel's gaze. Confusion crossed his face as he looked down at Lily, not as a father would, but as if grappling with a darker puzzle. "We need to leave, Leonard, now." The tension thickened, suffocating, as Leonard struggled to process it all. "What do you mean? What's going on? Why do you look at her like that?" And in that single question, everything shattered. "It's not just about bloodlines, Leonard. Lily isn't just your daughter. She's the embodiment of everything we've lost, and everything we're trying to gain," Daniel said, voice grave. Leonard's heart raced again. What did that mean? As realization struck him like thunder, the darkness around them bubbled over with secrets yet unspoken. "Daniel," Leonard breathed, his heart racing again. "What are you saying?" But Daniel's answer hung in the air, pregnant with implications that would twist their world entirely. As the pieces fell into place, a chilling weight settled over them. Just when Leonard thought he finally understood, he realized this was only the beginning. Leonard felt the panic rise as he reached for Lily, but Daniel's words clouded his mind. "Lily isn't just a child. She's tied to something far greater," he said. Fear coursed through Leonard like poison. "What do you mean?" The ground shook again, and chaos enveloped them. "She's part of a legacy," Daniel pressed on, pushing through the confusion. "One that can't be undone. You must trust me." Lily blinked up at Leonard, eyes still shimmering golden. "Daddy, I feel different." Her voice trembled, and Leonard fought the urge to pull her close and protect her from everything threatening her existence. "No!" Marina shouted, lunging toward them, panic threading her emotions like tangled yarn. "Get away from her!" Suddenly, the helicopter overhead roared louder, the sound slicing through the turmoil with fierce precision. A spotlight shone down directly on them. Leonard shielded Lily from the harsh light for an instant, reality folding in on itself like a collapsing star. "Listen carefully." Gerald yelled over the clamor. His face was tight with urgency, as if he grasped secrets that could save them all. "We need to get out, now. They want Lily, and if we don't leave, we'll lose everything." The tremor slowed, but the tension hung in the air like a weight. Leonard looked between his father and the chaotic scene before him. "We can't just leave. They've taken so much already." Daniel stumbled toward them, face pale but determined. "You need to trust us, Leonard. Please, Lily can't be here." A glimmer of hope sparked as Leonard felt the surge of something powerful within his daughter. "What? What does that mean?" "Just believe in her," Daniel shouted. Suddenly, another figure emerged from the shadows, and Leonard's heart ached as he recognized Sophie, his sister. "I'm with you," she said, rushing forward. "We're getting Lily out, In that moment, everything collided. With fierce determination, Leonard grabbed Lily's hand tightly. "We're leaving," he shouted. "Get her now," Gerald shouted, voice a commanding storm. Rachel, caught between fear and betrayal, hesitated. Her eyes flickered with a struggle for control. "You can't take her from me." But they moved as one, racing toward the door and out into the chaos. Dust choked the air as they pushed past the remnants of what used to be their lives. "Look for the light," Sophie yelled. The helicopter spiraled down, pulling them forward. Leonard felt Lily's small hand clutch his tightly, and warmth spread through him as he saw the glow surrounding her. "Stay with me, Lily," he urged, his heart pounding in his chest. With one last glance back, he saw Marina's fury morphing into despair. And in that instant, Leonard understood. The fight wasn't just about power or bloodlines. It was about love, connection, and protecting their own. They burst out into the night, the world a wild whirlwind around them. Shouts echoed in the distance, but nothing mattered. They were together, alive and moving, defying the pull of the past. Out of nowhere, the ground began to tremble again, and a near-deafening roar echoed. Leonard turned to the helicopter, his eyes wide. "What do we do?" The pilot, a strong presence, ushered them inside. "Go, now! Get in!" As they climbed aboard, Leonard felt the warmth of Lily beside him. No matter what shadows lurked behind, they were stepping into the light together. The helicopter lifted off the ground, soaring into the night sky. But as they climbed higher, Leonard's gaze landed on the smoke rising from the chaos below. What horrors awaited them? And was he truly free from the darkness? And as the stars glimmered above, a sense of hope mingled with dread. They had escaped, but at what cost? The air hummed with possibilities, unanswered questions swirling in the back of his mind. What about Rachel? What about Marina? The legacy. But for now, they had one another. Together they would face whatever darkness awaited them. And just as relief washed over him, a voice echoed in his heart, laced with urgency. "You must subscribe now. Don't wait one more second to join the journey. Hit that like button now to keep this story alive." Flood the comments with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about what happens next. This is the moment to show your support. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know, because the adventure is just beginning.